honestly, I'm not too far into it since I'm still in my first year, but it feels like a really good fit for me. And I feel like it's appropriately challenging, if that makes any sense. Like it makes me feel very accomplished.
Thank you. Thomas?
Yeah, so I'm Thomas Lip. I'm a current junior electrical engineer. I live in Valparaiso, Indiana, and so it actually snowed here a couple days ago.
No way.
Which is, yeah, not fun. Wish I was in California. But one of the reasons that I wanted to pursue electrical engineering is that just kind of throughout high school, I would just kind of look at different electronics because they're so prevalent in our lives as they were back then, and they're even more prevalent now. And I just kind of looked at it like it was magic, and it was like, how does that actually work? And so now I'm finding out that it's not always magic, but some of the time it really is magic.
Mariela?
Hi, I'm Mariela Zuniga. I'm a sophomore, electrical engineering major. I'm from Arvin, California, which is in Central Valley. And I chose electrical engineering because I've always been interested in renewable energy. And I think this is the perfect path to take me there.
Okay. Bradley?
Hi, yeah. My name is Brad. I am a senior in double E. The reason why I chose double E was I slowly realized that I really enjoyed math, and this major can really use mathematics in like very interesting ways, and in a lot of diverse ways as well. So I thought that was fascinating. I wanted to learn more about it. So.
Quentin? You're muted, Quentin.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry, yeah, my bad. Hi, my name is Quentin Turner. I'm a second year, majoring electrical engineering. I now live in California. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and I chose electrical engineering because since I was a kid, I've been interested in circuits. I played around with it. In high school, I got into robotics. I really loved that, and in high school, I really loved math and science. So, like choosing electrical engineering just came to me. That's like an obvious choice. Like, got to get into that. Yeah. You're
Austin?
muted.
Yeah.
So my name is Austin Rothschild. I am a junior. I live in Los Gatos, California. So I'm just like 10 minutes away from Santa Clara. And I got into electrical engineering. Interestingly enough, I started as co-en because I took a PCS in high school and I thought I wanted to be a programmer or a computer science major. And so I came in as co-en and I enjoyed the math, the physics, and the hardware side of things a lot more than the programming. Granted, ELAN's still a lot of programming, but it's more aligned with the math and physics, which I enjoyed. So I made this switch over.
Thank you. So we'll start off with the questions now. And the first set of questions are related to our program. And, I'll ask that, and I have a couple of you kind of selected, but if you want to add more to things, you can just go ahead. So the first question I have is, do first-year students have time to take, they only take required classes and general engineering classes before their major? So I'd like Emma and Quentin to kind of talk about this because you're closer to the first year. So we'll start with Emma and then go to Quentin.
So generally speaking, you do have to take some amount of required classes. It's, in my opinion, it's not the entire first year, but a lot of it depends on how you schedule it. My first year, I got placed into a math class behind just because of the high school I went to, and they didn't offer the classes I needed. And so my schedule is a little bit different from everybody else's. But generally, the like very basic prereq classes are not the entire first year, from my experience.
Add on to that, like you said, like in the first year, you're gonna do some general courses, right? So for me, I did that, and also there was going to be like some core classes, and they were I was pre-registered for them. And it could be different for you guys. Like, I don't know, like what AP classes you took, like for me, like I took like mainly math stuff, not only because like I liked it, but it was just what they had at the time, and then it was just what I was interested, and I was placed ahead in mathematics, and that's pretty much it, in terms of like courses. Yeah. But like or to add one thing, as you get, into the field, you like you'll begin to like take courses related to your major. Yeah.
So I think I touched on it too when we were talking about the 4 years. The first year, we do have a couple of courses like our logic design class and introduction course that kind of gets you a touch of what your major is going to be. So the next question was related to how easy was it to switch majors and so on. So I'm going to have Mariella and Austin talk about that, mainly because they are the two in our department, and maybe even Emma did switch into our department. So we'll start with Mariella.
Yeah, so I have a very similar story as Austin. I came into Santa Clara as a computer engineering major, and I didn't really know why I chose that, because I know I wanted a more hands-on approach to learning, and I was more interested after taking the first year courses that Shobha was mentioning. I realized that I really like circuits. I really like more of the physics and math side of things rather than the programming side. So it was just a personal preference for me.
Right. Yeah. I would say Elin is for sure more mathematical and physical than Cohen. Granted, if you are Cohen, you pretty much start out with the same course load as an Elin. So you guys all take the same math and science courses your first 2 years. Cohens have to take the introductory circuits classes. So like your general circuits class and then digital logic design. And you're all taking that at the same time, Elin and Cohen. So for like that first year and a half, you really could be either major, depending on what you figure you like more. You can make the switch fairly easily. So for me, I think the switch from Cohen to Elin was pretty trivial, because as a Cohen, you pretty much start off as an Elin. So there wasn't any issue with changing majors at all. So yeah.
Emma, you want to talk about whether you're from general engineering?
Oh, yeah. So I tell people I'm in ESEN, and I'm technically registered as general engineering, and I plan on getting it changed to ESEN at some point, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I'm planning on taking ESEN courses, and I'm in all the ELEN stuff and whatnot.
Okay, so yeah, so from general engineering also, it's not hard to kind of switch, because the first year is kind of common to almost everybody.
Yeah.
Double majors. So students have questions about whether you can double major or minor. So I think Thomas and Austin, you both have it. So Thomas, do you want to share about your double major?
Yeah, so I'm actually a electrical engineering major and then computer science and engineering minor. And so like people kind of mentioned earlier, those are two very complementary paths. And so some of the things that I do take, as an upper division electrical engineering versus computer science and engineering course, they kind of mesh well. And so you can almost double dip for some of them. But I think the one difference about planning for like a major or minor is just the emphasis on the planning part of it. Because it's like really easy to kind of plan it out starting your freshman year. But computer science and engineering isn't something that I knew that I wanted to kind of pursue until about my sophomore year, middle of my sophomore year. And that still gave me plenty of time to kind of plan ahead. It's not something that you want to decide like second trimester of your senior year that you want to do. So I think as long as you kind of plan it out and make sure your schedule allows for it, there's definitely no reason why you can't either get a minor in the School of Engineering or even outside of that as well. I have some friends who've done stuff in the School of Arts and Sciences, as well as the business school, picking up minors and even double majors. But you really just got to kind of know a little bit ahead of time and plan it out for sure.
Austin?
Yeah, so I have a mathematics minor, which for an ELEN is pretty nice because it's only 3 extra classes, and depending on what area of electrical engineering you're interested in, you could be using one specific type of math that you don't really cover in your general classes. So it may be beneficial for you to take additional course on that. And so I think it's really come in handy for me. But I would say that the science minors are easier for ELINs because you already take a lot of the prereqs. So it ends up being less extra classes you have to take if you want to get a minor in like physics or math or Cohen or something. But that being said, I definitely have friends who have more diverse minors like in music or chemistry or business. So it can really be done depending on if you know what you want to do going into school, and you can plan it out accordingly.
Yeah. I've had, over the years, we've had a lot of students who actually have minored in music. Almost every year we have at least one musician performing, and I've gone to all their performances. Last time, remember, we had Anne. I don't know if any of you remember, she performed. So it's always interesting. I get to go to all their performances too. So one of you need to take on an instrument, people. The next question I had was that we got back, or how large are the classes? And I'm going to have Quinton and Emma talk about this because, you know, you're here in the thick of things, especially Quinton. You're in the middle of all the classes that are there. So do you want to share about the size of the classes and how you're able to kind of navigate through the, you know, your sophomore year?
So in the beginning, the classes, it depends on the course itself. Like let's say, like from my perspective, it was at a good size, like maybe around 20 kids. But like as you get like for this year, there were like more people in each of my classes, like especially in like ELAN 100 for Zekovich's class, for physics, the physics courses that you have to take, and even the math department too. So like in the math and stuff, but for the core classes, it's probably less compared to like the math and science and engineering classes.
But the sizes are typically 20 to 30 students. So it's not
Yeah.
like 100 or 200 or
No.
anything like that. So I think relatively compared to 10, 15, 20, we are talking about other schools maybe that have much larger class sizes.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like as the years like go by, like the size is probably gonna get bigger.
Yeah. And I want Abby to comment on it because one thing is Abby's been in classes where she's been the only female student in there. And we've been trying really hard to get more and more students, you know, minorities into our program. So just want to say we have two seniors, two women seniors. I think we have 4 juniors. We have 6 sophomores. So just growing, I'm just saying there's 8. So it's almost like a binary number thing here. But yeah, we've been growing the number of at least women that I can count in the program for sure. Yeah. Anything else you want to comment on class sizes, anybody?
I mean, oops.
Or you can go, Emma.
Okay. My experience is broadly the same. It's the biggest class size I've ever had is probably our ELAN 20, and that was 25, 30 kids. Every class I've had other than that, though, is anywhere from like 10 to 20, more closer to 20. Yeah. But yeah, it's not bad.
Abby?
I was going to say, and when in the first few years, the classes are bigger, but only my biggest class I've ever had was maybe a chemistry class with 40 people or something. But once you're a senior, then the classes get really small. Like I've had classes with 5 people, 4 people. And I actually really like having small classes. I didn't think I would like it, or I didn't really think about it for a long time. But when there's only 4 of us, it's really easy to say, hi, I don't get it. Can you explain it again or something? And we get more individual attention. And then even with there being like less girls in my classes, I think Tanya and I, or she's the other girl senior, we actually have had like a really great experience here. And a lot of the professors are actually women in the ELAN department. I think it's like majority or 50% or something. So we never really feel outnumbered, I think. We're all really good friends in our classes.
Yeah. I have a lot of the girls on speed dial. So there you go. The next thing I wanted to talk about was senior design projects. So we have two seniors here. We have Abby and Brad. So Brad, I'd like you to share a little bit about your experience with senior design.
Yeah, so from person to person, it changes really what you're interested in. I found myself interested in like antenna design and basically physics. And the project that I'm working on is with 3 other people where we're trying to design a room or a cavity in which you can theoretically walk in and your phone will charge. So it's kind of like the 3-dimensional or the 2-dimensional charging pads that you'd have now, but instead of that, we're trying to make it to a 3-dimensional system. But it's the project itself really allows for a lot of learning in different ways, where you can sit in a class and really kind of just get, you know, a professor talking to you, and that's a really great way to learn. But then you actually have to use all that knowledge that you've learned for the past 3 years and kind of apply it towards your own project, something that you made your own and you want to actually complete something by the end of a year. So I found it to be really rewarding to actually start from nothing and really build up what you want to see towards, you know, a year-long project, and kind of actually make it your own. And it's been fun. It's hard, but it's fun.
Yeah. Abby?
I'm working on a chip security project for authenticating chips, and it uses manufacturing variations. So it's something I didn't know anything about before this year, but I've learned a lot about it. I've actually really enjoyed senior design. I think throughout my like college experience, I was always like, oh, I'm gonna work on this technical project, I'm gonna work on it, but then I would always like push it off. So this is like a nice like set aside time to have a team and have resources and money to like do this technical project. So it's been really fun.
Shift gears to talk about something that a lot of people ask is, how do students leverage the companies around Santa Clara? You know, like how do you do different things here? And I know Abby and Thomas have been very involved. I'm sure many of you have been, but talk about, you know, the mentorship that programs, if you all attended any of those events, any internships, and then any networking activities we've done. So I'll leave it to Abby and Thomas, and then if anybody else wants to add, that'd be great.
Yeah, so there's definitely no shortage of definitely mentors and just industry professionals who want to come and either give talks or demonstrations or kind of workshops on campus. Abby and I are actually both part of the board of IEEE, the student chapter here, and we are constantly getting emails from either other schools or just companies and other professors and everything who want to come and either give talks, or they want to give demonstrations, or they want to give us, you know, resume workshops and things of that nature. So that's definitely a great resource on campus, to have people willing to come directly on campus and, you know, pay for our food and pay for everything else and give a really technical talk about a huge array of topics, from, you know, like data storage and management to, you know, interview questions to, you know, how to make a resume stand out in a crowd and things like that. So there's a wide array of things that they come in and talk about. And then also stuff like our career fairs. They have specific like STEM career fairs that are put on by the school. But then also just the electrical engineering department itself has its own career fair, where there's about 15 to 20 companies or so every fall. And only electrical engineers are allowed to go in there. And so there's about 15 stands of people just all standing there waiting to talk to you. And so it's a really great networking opportunity where you can just meet industry mentors, and they would love to give you their contact information and for you to talk to them and email back and forth and, you know, get internships and stuff like that. So there's definitely no shortage of access to kind of communicating and interacting with professionals that are off campus.
Abby?
Yeah, the department has different networking opportunities and different events for students where people are, industry mentors are coming on campus. And then the whole School of Engineering, all the different clubs are always having different events where different companies are coming. And then Also, there are like a lot of field trips. Dr. Shoba is really good at organizing field trips. So if there's any company around here that you want to see, we probably can go there. We've seen the Tesla plant, manufacturing plant, and that's been really like hands-on and like a good way to go see things. Also, with our mentoring program, we have so many mentors that like to come and help out. I actually have gotten both of my internships and my like full-time job from these mentoring events. One of them, we were just bowling, and then I ended up getting a job. So from these things, you can make really good connections, and it's a great way to leverage like all the companies around us.
Anybody else want to comment on internships or anything? No? Okay. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was research and the 5-year program. And I know that I'm going to have Brad and Austin talk about the research projects that they've been working on. So Austin, do you, and Brad, maybe first Austin?
Yeah, so I started doing research this past summer. I had a professor in my circuits class asked me if I wanted to work with her because I didn't have anything planned for that summer when I was a sophomore. And so I spent a lot of time in the lab learning about antennas and the different topics in microwave engineering, which I did not have any exposure to before. So that really pushed me ahead in that area, which is my area of interest, and allowed me to take graduate classes this year in those topics, which was very cool. And I'm currently doing a research project with a new professor in an entirely different area. And so in my experience, the professors here are very active in their research, and they love having students work with them. So if you're interested in doing a project at all, you could literally talk to any professor here and they'll have something for you to do because they love getting the students involved. And it's super great for learning and helping you find out exactly what you're interested in, and also exposing you to a lot of things you wouldn't see in your normal curriculum.
Brad?
Yeah, I also have been doing research. I started my junior year, I think the beginning of my junior year, and I did it that entire year. And I also got a scholarship over the summer to do my research. So I got paid doing that full time over the summer, which was really good. It was really great learning experience because again, it's another way to learn. It's I sat in a room with the professor, 40 hours a week, and if I ever had a question, we would just discuss it, and I would just learn something new every single day. And it's quite different because with classes you have homework problems and they tell you what to do, and then you kind of solve them and then you turn it in. But then with this, it's like you don't have any problems. You kind of just make them up, and then you go along and see where it takes you. Kind of just you zigzag around until you find something interesting. Kind of work towards that goal. But yeah, it's a really good opportunity. Most professors, if you're interested in their subject, they have something to do. Like Austin said, you can really get involved pretty easily.
Brad, maybe you can continue talking about the fact that after this, you're planning to do the 5th year, and yeah, what you're going to be thinking about when you do it, and how did you decide to do it?
Yeah, so I'm going to be going into the 5th year program. So during your junior and senior year, you can kind of start taking master's courses if you're interested in a specific topic, and that can count towards your 5th year program credits. So I was interested in the research that I was doing, so I continued on with taking the master's courses like Austin was doing this year, and I'm going to be continuing that next year, and hopefully I'll get supported by doing TA shifts. So you can apply to be a TA and help within the labs to get your 5th year supported in full. Yeah, so I really was interested in that topic that I did research in, and I found that through the classes, and then I decided to go into my master's program to actually get more knowledge into that, and hopefully it'll be great.
Thank you, Brad. Mariella, I wanted to talk you to talk a little bit about the, your activities, the Society for Hispanic Engineers, LEAD, and then maybe Abby can then talk about IEEE and what we do. So maybe start with Mariella.
Yeah, so some of the technical clubs or organizations that I'm a part of on campus are SHIP, which is Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. We have a lot of events like IEEE, but it's more focused towards diversity and I guess just empowerment also. So I really like that. I was also part of Solar Regatta, which is a competition in California that unfortunately got postponed this year. And something that I haven't, or something that isn't technical, but I'm immensely part of is LEAD. And it's first generation program on campus. And I'm actually a part of council for it. So I really like to join clubs that I feel the most comfortable in. And that's just me being able to share my identities with others.
I am part of IEEE, which is basically a club for electrical engineers and electrical and computer engineers on campus. And we work with Dr. Shoba a lot to put on lots of different types of events and like social, like we would go ice skating or bowling, technical. So we made our own Arduino Unos, is something we did. Professional, we have like resume workshops and then outreach. So one event we had is we went to a high school and we made like an Arduino buzzwire game with them. So we do these type of events, and that personally has helped me a lot because I didn't know anything about engineering when I got here or anything about electrical engineering. So I joined IEEE and like I met a lot of older students who helped me and said like, oh, take this class, like this is the best way to do this, like, and I was really able to do like small projects and like get my hands dirty and get my resume built.
Do you want to tell about your IM experience?
Oh yes. We all have become really good friends, and so we made an electrical engineering basketball team, and Thomas and Mariella were also on it. And the first year we were not very good, but this year we had 3 wins out of 4 games, I think. So we did really well. We got a lot better. We also played soccer.
They shut the school down. Look what did you do?
We were too good. They couldn't handle it.
Yeah, so that's all the questions I had. I wanted to know if, Kelly, did anybody have any questions in the chat for any of us?
As of now, no, but if there's anyone, please just write it down.
Yeah, if any of the attendees want to type in their questions in the chat, we could answer them for you. If we don't get any, then we could probably like, some of you could share why you chose Santa Clara, maybe. Quentin, you want to share why you decided to come from Pennsylvania over here?
So the reason why like I came to California first is because like I wanted to like get away from like the East Coast because I lived there like my entire life, and I was like, why don't I just like experience the West Coast? You know, like it's all filled like with opportunities, like with my field too. So I'm like, why not? So, and I chose like Santa Clara because other than the fact like it's close to my home, but it's I chose it because of like the values, you know, like helping people, the community, giving back to it. Like I really enjoy that, and that's what I'm all about. Like I love helping people. Yeah.
Thank you. Mariella?
Yeah, so I grew up here in California, and I know like both of my siblings, they went to college in the East Coast. They wanted to experience the East Coast after living in the West Coast so much. And they both ended up where Santa Clara is at right now. They both ended up in the Bay. And so obviously there's something special about the Bay if 2 people that left very far away from home came back here. And I've also always wanted a small school. So Santa Clara just fit perfectly for that.
Emma?
So I came out here for a number of reasons. The main one is, so I'm from North Carolina, and I kind of just wanted to get away from home, and this was about as far as I could get. um, in terms of Santa Clara specifically, I did really like their values, like, helping people, sort of what Quentin was saying. I also appreciated their smaller class sizes, and they're in a really good location. Like, being in Charlotte, where I'm from, it's sort of, you kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere unless you're in Uptown. But then you go out to Santa Clara, and it's like, oh, the NVIDIA headquarters are 20 minutes from you. The Apple headquarters are 20 minutes from you. It's just, everything is within, like, arm's reach, and it's a very empowering feeling.
Austin, this could be a question for you because one of the people from the Bay Area, and they ask, for those who are from the Bay Area, how's attending a college right in your backyard? And I think that's for you, Austin.
Yeah, I know like some people want to get away from where they grew up, but I really love the Bay Area, so that's one of the reasons I stayed here, because I wanted to go to school here. I want to work here later when I'm done with school, and it's not really an issue at all. And in fact, I sort of like it. Like if I want to go home one weekend and eat a meal at home, I can. I don't commute. I know some people who live in the Bay Area that do commute just because it's so convenient. I live in a house that's off campus with a bunch of other people from all over the place. And I think it's I enjoy going to school close to where I grew up. I could take my housemates back to have dinner on a weekend or something. And like first and second year, people sort of came to me asking, where all the cool spots were to go check out. And if, this restaurant was good or not, or what to do in Santa Cruz. And so it's pretty cool being from the area, I think.
Bradley, are you from this area itself?
No, I'm from Southern California.
Okay,
but
so that's a bit far.
I came up here because, it's different though. But I think I like it better up here. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else wants to share why they came to Indiana? You came from, Thomas. Any reason why you chose SCU?
Yeah, I think one of the things that really kind of sold me on it, other people brought up really, really great reasons as well. But the one thing is that you're really kind of valued, not just as like a student, not just as like a source of income for the school, but more so as like a person, as a future engineer, as someone who really wanted to kind of strive and, really like be something and make something of themselves. And one of the best examples of that, I think, was last year we had a course start at 8:30 in the morning. And it was a course of, there's only 9 people in the class. And one of the people was late. So a student was late. And the professor didn't start class until we figured out where he was. So we were at 8:30 sitting there calling him because the professor realized that someone wasn't in class. And so you're not really just like an ID number in a class lecture hall of like, 300 or 400 people. You're actually like a valued student where the professors care and they're like, oh, where is someone? Why are they missing my class right now? And so they really kind of strive to go the extra mile and try to help you out. So I think that really sums up for me is I'm really valued here, which I love.
Yeah. And I can safely say that when there's an exam going on, if there's a student missing, many of you have had me tell you, can you text this person and make sure he's awake and he shows up? So that's what's important. Yeah, like we know everybody. If someone doesn't show up, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but we know what's going on in your life. So there's another question from the group that's visiting us. It says, have you ever felt overwhelmed by the coursework or had a hard time understanding a specific concept? How were you able to get the support and help for your specific problem? Who wants to answer that?
I guess I can answer that.
Okay,
so, anytime you need help, use the resources here. We have the professors, that's one. You have your students, that's another one. Also, you have like the tutoring too. And also, and especially as a tutor myself, like what I usually recommend to, like, if people aren't getting stuff like immediately, look it up. Like you have Google, everything, like you have like all these searching tools, right? You can like look stuff up instantly and like and there could be like a YouTube channel, right, that can like help you like figure out what is it, something like a concept that you're not getting, like it's not clicking, and then maybe there could be one person that can explain it better than like either your professor or student or whatever tutor, right? And in terms of like getting overwhelmed, um, what I usually do to prevent that is like if I'm given assignments, do it as like try to get it done as much as you can, like or as quickly as you can. Because like for me, like I'm a guy who wants to do like whatever I want like later without like thinking about doing other stuff like that is school related. Like it's why do the work later when you could do it now? It's like why like do I want to what is it, hang out with my friends like without excuse me, sorry. Had to ignore that last part. Yeah, you pretty much get the idea. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about peer educators. So one thing we do on our campus, and I do for sure in all my classes, and I know my colleagues do too, we hire students, or rather we give credit to students to be peer educators for us. So these are students who have taken our class before. They know our method of teaching. They know, the way we express our problems and so on, and they can help you solve it. So for example, Thomas right now is a peer educator for me for a course that I'm teaching, and he puts on a little session and he goes over the problems. And what I love about peer educators in my mind is if the students are nervous asking questions of the professor, then they can ask a peer, and peers can explain it and say, oh yeah, I got the same kind of problem and this is how I got out of it. So, while professors may think, oh, this is simple, the peer educators may be able to say it in a different way. I've never had trouble having students tell me they didn't understand anything, because they just tell me right away while I'm presenting, which I love about my students, because something's not clear, it's important you express it. So Thomas, do you want to share a little bit about what it is like to be a peer educator? A lot of you have been, but I just picked on Thomas because he's mine.
Yeah, I think you explained it really well. Is peer educators are really there just to kind of help with questions, help with worksheets, help figure out if something isn't really sticking, and maybe you don't have time to go to office hours, or maybe like Joba said, maybe you're scared to ask questions in class or something. Especially with this online format, I found that a lot of people do kind of come to my office hours and kind of ask certain questions about either concepts that aren't directly taught in the course. So maybe you forgot something from a previous lecture or something, or a previous course that you've taken. That should carry over, or maybe just the material isn't coming together for some reason. Like you kind of see it as like disjointed things, and you have to see, where does it kind of come together. So I've really enjoyed it myself as being an educator. I think I also learn a lot, and I have to go back and review and figure out, oh, why did I do this? But I think it's really interesting to kind of see the questions that people bring to me, because it's the same stuff that I was struggling with at the time that I was learning it initially. And so I can definitely understand, kind of where people are going wrong, and maybe, what I did to kind of get out of that mindset and try to figure out what they should kind of do. But I think it's really powerful because I think I'm, very connected to the same issues that they had. I was there, a year ago. So I think it's a really, really powerful tool for sure.
We have one more question from the audience. It says, did your faith or values play a role in your decision to come to SEU? So either faith or values, either one. Anyone wants to share with that? No, I can share that. So I didn't come to go to school for like a student, but I came to Santa Clara to teach because I was working in industry. I was a chip designer, making a good lot of money. And you don't become a professor because you want money, let me tell you. But basically, I decided to come here because I felt that it really worked with the community. Sort of like what Quentin said. We found that there are projects that you could do to help people. And it's not like you're not doing research. I did research in chip design, and that was another wonderful thing. I was right down the valley and I could work with any company I wanted to do research. So while we had that, I felt like anything I did, I could do it and I know that it's going to be useful. So I actually developed 2 courses. One is project engineering projects in the community, and another one is engineering outreach in the community. They're both courses now taught in the School of Engineering. It's taught by other people now, but I started them because I found students were really interested in going into the community and helping, whether it was to do projects for nonprofits or whether it was to help other people understand why engineering or science is important. Those were what were passion of mine, and that's what I did, and I started it. So I would say I had the opportunity to go. I had other universities that had applied to and had given me the job, and I chose Santa Clara for that one reason. So I think if you have values that really line up with helping and, you know, reaching out and working with people, this is the kind of school for you. Even our projects that we do, I mean, like Mariela said about the solar regatta. Again, you can do a solar whatever, but you're doing it to kind of make a place, the planet, a better place and things like that. And I think it's really neat that our students get involved in projects like that. Any other questions? That's all I have so far here. Okay, if there are no other questions, I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank all my students for participating in this whole event. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your input, and kind of makes me feel good that that's why we do what we do. So that's great. And for those of you who are attending, I hope we see you in the fall. If you have any questions, the last slide I had all my contact information, and this will all be sent to you. A video of this will be sent to you also. So just in case you felt like you missed something and you feel like you want to listen to someone say something again, you're totally welcome to do that. So thank you again, everybody. I'll wait on in case there are other questions. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you around. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, Professor. Take care.
Thank you.